Today on DNVR Buffs Live, will a linebacker break out for the Buffs in Week 2 for the third year in a row? Also a game of everyone's favorite, fill in the blank, and much, much more. Let's get it.
Buff Nation,
Let's go.
Squad. Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores, is DNVR Buffs Live. Firmly into Week 2. Kind of, have we put Georgia Tech behind us?
Who?
There we go. A little bit of talk about them today at media, but it is on to Delaware. We will play a Week 1 edition of Fill in the Blank.
Cannot wait.
Hell yeah.
Maybe Week 2 edition? I don't know. We can decide that when we get to the questions and whether it's more Week 2 or
Week
2.
1.5.
But yeah, we'll talk about the next IMG Academy player who's coming in for a visit this weekend. We'll hear from Delaware's head coach on the problems that CU could present them. And a bunch of stuff from media today. We start off, though, with the linebacker position. It was linebacker day on the podium, and it's a position that's been talked about a lot this offseason, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They hit the transfer portal pretty heavy. And one guy we talked about yesterday, we said, needs more playing time. And it sounds like he is a prime candidate to really increase his role in that rotation this week.
Yeah, that'd be Shaun Myers.
Yes, sir.
Y'all go check out if you haven't already. We just dropped an extra piece of content yesterday after the show about Colorado football players who need more playing time in Week 2. And one of the guys that we talked about was Shaun Myers. It sounds like Coach Hart agrees. You know, Coach Hart was asked about Shaun Myers specifically today, and I think we have the clip right that we're going to play. But, you know, in few words, he basically said that Shaun has stepped up. And that's somebody that he expects to get more playing time this week against Delaware. Only played 12 snaps in Week 1, which is kind of ironic because it's the same number of snaps that DeKalen Taylor also played on the other side of the ball. That number needs to increase for both of those guys. Shaun Myers really impressed. We've talked about him sparingly this offseason, the former team captain at his previous spot in Northern Alabama, over 100 career tackles. He looked the part. He didn't look afraid of the moment in Week 1 against Georgia Tech, and I was happy to hear that Coach Hart also has liked what he's seen in Shaun Myers.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy that it could happen 3 years in a row, but year 1, it was Juju Mitchell, who filled in Week 2 against Nebraska, played really well. I remember him showing and flashing very early in the game, and it was immediately like, okay, well, this is an upgrade over what we had last week.
Yeah.
In year 2, it was, of course, Nikhai Hill-Green who came in and kind of took Trevor Wood's spot against Nebraska, right? Yeah. And started to do his thing, and then, of course, he ended up being the best linebacker on the team last year. And then you get to year 3 here, and I don't think anyone's ready to say Martavius French or Reggie Hughes deserves to get benched for Shaun Myers, but you definitely want to see him get an opportunity with the way that he played in the short period that he was on the field. So could it be 3 years in a row? Very potentially could be 3 years in a row where a guy gets to finally shine in Week 2 and takes that opportunity and never turns back.
For sure. Let's just get to the clip then. Here's Coach Hart kind of talking about the linebacker rotation, and then also just speaking on what we could see from Shaun Myers this weekend and moving forward.
Really a challenge per se. The thing is that you never know when someone's going to go down. So Coach Prime always wants to make sure we're ready for the next guy to be up. So you like to see those combinations and that chemistry and how they get going. Now, as far as the hot hand goes, that's the intuition part, right? Like if you got, Martavius, who had 2 forced fumbles, then was getting ready to have a sack, you definitely don't want to pull him out and do that. So the hot hand, you kind of watch that and be in the field of the game. But besides that, it's not a challenge. I think these guys play good together. Yeah, Shaun has came and stepped up with his experience. Like we talked about, guy coming out the portal. He understands the defense. He's played something similar to it. So, yes, we're going to pin on him, and he's going to get some snaps as well.
So Coach Prime talked about it yesterday. They're going to add more in that rotation at the linebacker spot. And as Coach Hart put it, Martavius was kind of balling early on. He really was balling early on. The whole defense kind of fell apart, containing the run, I think. Playing gap sound as the game went into the second half and so on. But there's some promise from both those guys. Reggie Hughes even, too. I thought he really showcased his speed and made some nice plays early on. It's just both of them got sometimes, and it gashed CU, really.
That's the entire point of Georgia Tech's offense.
Yep.
Is to get you in the wrong place. And, everything that they do is to try to confuse you, to attack what you're taught, and make you think you're seeing one thing and you're not. And on the flip side, on the encouraging side, is the Buffs didn't miss hardly any tackles in that football game. They were for week 1. That's really good. When you face a running team in week 1, you really worry about missed tackles.
I think PFF only charted him for 3 missed tackles all game.
That's really well done. And that speaks to both Reggie, Martavius, and you can even add in Shaun Myers into that mix, and really the entire defense of getting the job done once they're in the right place. Unfortunately, there's times where they were in the wrong place. But again, when an entire offense is built on trying to attack that and trying to mess with your eyes, you're going to have some that you get got, and that's okay. But I think in general, you can be encouraged by the fact that they're able to tackle so well, and the fact that they're not going to see a rushing attack like that the rest of the season.
Yep.
No, especially not with the battering ram that Haynes King is and is used to be in that offense. Like Colorado's going to face some dual threat quarterbacks, some capable quarterbacks with their legs, but I don't think anybody is just going to be used like a fullback like the way Haynes King was, particularly in that second half, particularly in that fourth quarter. And I think also too, part of the reason why this defense started out fast, particularly in the linebackers, Reggie, Martavius having the fast starts and kind of maybe waning a little bit down the stretch. They played a lot of snaps. And I think it's part of the reason why Coach Prime mentioned we're going to see more rotation at linebacker this week, and why Coach Hart says we're going to see more Shaun Myers this week. Reggie played 62 snaps on Friday. Martavius played 58. And that's pretty much all the defensive snaps.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, Shaun played 12. Jeremiah Brown was the only other linebacker to play, and he only played 2 snaps. So Reggie and Martavius were on the field that entire game, facing quarterback run and motion, running sideline to sideline down there every play. And it would behoove this defense to get another linebacker in there, like a Shaun Myers, to just take some of the load off of those first 2 guys and maybe even potentially prove to be maybe the starter moving forward here. So I like to hear that from Coach Prime and Coach Hart, just about expanding that room a little bit, assuming they're capable guys that you can trust to put out there, which I think they have in that top 3.
And someone asked, why aren't we playing the best players? Look, man, Shaun Myers committed to Colorado on May 30th. He didn't get here until a couple weeks after that, when he was actually in with the program. I think it's possible that he could be, truly one of your best linebackers, but he got here 3 months ago.
Literally.
It was the same case, literally the same case with all 3 guys.
Yep.
Juju Mitchell was, before the season.
He came in 2 weeks before the season started, it felt like.
Nikhai Hill-Green committed on the spring game. He didn't show up until, kind of the summer off season started going. So he was there a little bit before Shaun in terms of the timeline. But, that's why I think you're seeing these guys, especially in this linebacker room, kind of rev up as the season goes along.
Definitely.
And why we've had these breakouts the last 2 years, and why we're potentially in line for another one this year in Shaun Myers. So I preach just a little bit of patience with that room, because look, Reggie and Martavius have been here all year, all offseason.
Yep.
They know the defense. Shaun is still kind of picking it up, and look, those 2 guys are kind of some leaders on defense too. If you're going to replace them, you really got to bring it on the field.
Yeah. One of the commenters says the lack of missed tackles is a bit misleading. Many of GT's runs advanced to the second level without getting touched. We weren't in proper position to even miss tackles. I don't know about that. I understand the concept of that. You still got to make tackles, and it's even harder to make tackles in the secondary.
Yeah.
It's smaller guys.
Haynes King did have a few open lanes to really work through.
No, I'm just saying that I think both things can be true. The lanes were open. The tackling was good.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think anybody walks away from that game saying Colorado's tackling was an issue. It's about fitting it up.
Exactly.
90% of their rushing yards came before contact, before a Colorado football player was even able to get hands on the ball carrier. So tackling is an issue, which I think at this point is encouraging, but you got to fit it up better. And the communication part of it was a theme that we heard too from Coach Hart, from Martavius, from Reggie. I mean, communication part simply just from getting the play call in. People got to remember too, like, although Martavius started his career at Tennessee, Reggie started his career at Ole Miss, I don't think they really played as much as they played on Friday night.
No, of course not.
Especially in Reggie's case, having the green dot, having to get the call in and relay to the other 10 guys on the field in front of a rocking Folsom Field crowd for the first time. That communication part struggled a little bit on Friday, but that's something that you, again, would expect to continue to improve as the season moves on, and I think it will.
I mean, look, Colorado only had 3 tackles for a loss on Friday night against Georgia Tech. And again, it's not like guys weren't doing things. Like, I thought Brandon Davis-Swain was moving people. I thought Jaheim Otis was moving people. Quincy was clearly moving people. Like, it's not like it's a strength and, like, literally, like, shedding blocks type of issue. I mean, yes, you want to see him get off more blocks, but they just didn't really have anyone like Shaun Myers with the speed to kind of and the instincts to shoot those gaps, kind of see exactly what was going on, before it happened. And that's why Nikhai and Juju were so good at that spot, because they were veteran players. They played so much. Shaun Myers has played a lot of football as well.
Yeah.
Not to say that Martavius and Reggie haven't, but that speed it's going to bring a different element, especially when we see more of it.
For sure. Absolutely. In the defense, I feel like in all of our conversations here, the defense has kind of slid by unscathed a little bit. And I think the reason why is because it was not one or two things you can point to or one or two people you can point to. It was kind of just like a slow bleed of just like, something wrong here, something wrong there. In the end, I think they probably should have only given up 20 points. And the offense had the ball with 5 minutes left, with a chance to go win. That should have been the last possession of the game. The offense kicks a walk-off field goal. Defense never has to go back out there. The game is won 23-20, and then everyone would be saying the defense did a really great job against Georgia Tech. But one really bad missed assignment in the most critical part of the game leads to a 60-yard touchdown run, flips the stats, flips everything, flips the game. And that's where we are today. But the defense definitely does have to clean things up.
No doubt. Next thing from practice, here's what all 3, Martavius, French, Reggie Hughes, and Coach Hart said about improvements for Delaware. And, communication was a big key.
Communicating and aligning. Most of our alignments, just took us out of our run responsibilities and just didn't put us in a position to make plays. Also communicating as well, because we had a couple of multiple busts, out there on the field that just gave Georgia Tech opportunity to keep their drives steady going. So there's 2 things this week that we're for sure trying to focus on is alignments and communication.
So the first week, I was coming off a little minor injury, coming out of fall camp with my tricep, hyperextended my tricep. So, I really couldn't just strike blocks how I wanted to. So I feel like this week I'll be able to play way more physical than I was last week. And, just playing more confident within our assignment, not overthinking them, man. Just flying to the rock and playing fast defense.
Well, it could definitely be better. I think that, with the new technology, having the communicator in the helmet, I don't think you still can get away from signals, right? So it's really training the guys to make sure, even though we're getting somebody with a communicator, that we still look to the sideline and we get the signals, right? Just don't rely on one person. It's a team sport. You got the safety and the corners on this side of the field. They need to look back to get the signal and make sure we're straight. We'll be better this week with that.
So just a lot of new pieces and new places on that defense, and guys are still getting comfortable. I mean, there's a lot of things to feel good, feel positive about, but yeah.
Another thing I learned today too is that Reggie talked about the fact that he was kind of playing through something. I think he said it an overextend or hyperextended triceps that he was dealing with leading into the Georgia Tech game that kind of didn't allow him to really strike as well as he want, on blocks and shedding blocks and whatnot. So he was at less than 100%. Still led this team with 11 total tackles, had 9 solo tackles, played 70+ snaps. And obviously he wasn't perfect. We've talked about that plenty. But I was encouraged by what I saw for the most part from Reggie Hughes. Hearing him after the game, being the only defensive player to kind of have to face the music in front of the media and kind of talk through things after a tough loss, and hearing him today, I really like what I've seen from Reggie starting in that game in week 1 in his debut, and I'm expecting a healthy version of him, even better as the season moves on.
Yep. All right, let's take our first break, and then we'll wrap up the rest of pressers and everything else. Y'all like money?
Hell yeah.
Yep. Shout out to the homies over at Monarch Money. I'm betting most of you guys and most of the people watching the show, they can't name all of their financial accounts, what they're worth, investment accounts, all that stuff, right? I mean, it can be a lot to keep track of, especially with everything else going on in life. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It's like your own personal CFO, just shows you exactly where your money's coming in, where it's going, and how you could save a little bit more. It was named the best budgeting app of 2025 by the Wall Street Journal. And it's also got over 34,000 users online on Reddit who shaped the product and developed it. So shout out to those guys. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code DNVR at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. It's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DNVR.
Y'all like money?
Hell yeah.
You got to hit up our friends over at Bet365 then, because it's football season, which means the 17-point early payout offer is back. If you bet on a money line, your team goes up by 17 points, you'll get an instant payout on straight bets and on your parlay selections that are marked as winners. It's pretty nice, especially if you're, say you're watching an NFL Sunday or even a college football Saturday and you made a big money line bet. Then it hits, it goes directly into your account right then. You don't have to wait for the end of the game to get that money. You could start, making plays for the next round of games right there immediately. It's a lot of fun. So get over to our friends over at Bet365 and use the code DNVR65 when you sign up to deposit $10. Place a bet for $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. It's a great deal. You must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, wrapping up media today. We've gotten this question a lot, actually, the last couple of days. So here's Martavius French and Coach Hart just both talking about, facing running quarterbacks, how you can kind of slow them down, and also the challenges that come with facing them. So here you go.
What's difficult is that because whenever he's not our responsibility, that's what makes it very difficult, especially when we run in the zone coverage, because we have to get out and worry about receivers and get in position for them. And then by the time we turn around, if the D lineman haven't got there yet, then that's when the quarterback has to scramble, and then that put us in a bad predicament to either stay in our zone and still go out the receivers or go tackle the quarterback because we don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's always a great area playing defense, you know what I mean? Whenever we don't have specific calls that tell us, that's your player or you have him in this play. You know what I mean?
Well, I can't tell you any trade secrets right now on who's going to be what. But I'll tell you what, we have a solid plan on how we're going to decide who has the ball, whether it's the quarterback or the running back, based on the formation of play and the tendencies of that run.
Something else Coach Hart talked about when it came to Georgia Tech, he said that their number one priority that they wanted to stop was Jamal Haynes. And I think they kind of did that. I really think that they kept him.
They did.
Pretty well contained until I think it's the last drive for them. He had a wheel route that he took for 27 yards, by far his biggest game of the day. I think he only had 82 total yards on the day. So they did that, and that's kind of where Haynes King took advantage. So clearly they're going to need to make some adjustments, but that was kind of Coach Hart's reasoning as to their defensive philosophy going into GT last week.
That was the right approach. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I
agree.
If you can just hand the ball off and have success all day long, you're going to do it. If you could hand the ball to your running back and have success all day long, you don't have to put your quarterback in harm's way, you're going to do it. Made them do what they didn't want to do as much, which is run the ball with Haynes King. If you could have had their choice of anything, you'd want them to throw the ball with Haynes King, but you got him, and you got opportunities to do that, and you took advantage of it. In the end, you just didn't stop the quarterback run quite enough. You have Utah on the schedule, who's going to present a similar challenge with a dynamic quarterback in that way, and Kansas State.
Arizona State a little bit too. Levitt had like a big run last week. So
That's not what he's trying to do, though.
it's different, but yeah, he can run. Yeah.
So, you got time to figure it out and come up with a better plan for that. But again, I don't think you're going to face a 1-2 punch as good as you did this last weekend. So you had to take away something. You did it. Did a pretty darn good job of it.
And there are a lot of people out there that wanted this defense to play a lot more zone coverage this season.
And Martavius just talked about that.
And Martavius talked about it right there. Not everything is going to work. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're a man team and you think switching the zone is just going to automatically work. That's going to open you up to different kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Just different looks.
Yeah, I mean,
different opportunities.
Leave you vulnerable in different kind of spots, whether you're in man or zone. And I think we saw man could have been a plan, but I think that's probably what Georgia Tech was expecting Colorado to come out in defensively. And I think it was smart to come out in more of a zone look, try to take Jamal Haynes out of the game as much as possible. But they had a counterpunch, Georgia Tech did, and it was using Haynes King like a battering ram. And we talked about it late in the game. Haynes King was filling those hits. He was getting up really slow. I mean, you have him in the run game, 19 rush attempts plus his 20 dropbacks. You're putting a lot on your quarterback.
He got hit on some of those dropbacks.
He really did. And you were talking about like people might be giving the defense maybe a little bit of a pass or maybe less harsh on the defense as opposed to the offense. And to me, it's because of that. I think they had a good plan. You make Georgia Tech punt the football back to you, tie game, 5 minutes left on the clock.
Right.
That should have been game.
Yep.
Defense, in my opinion, played good enough to win that football game. I just can't say the same about the offense, but
especially when you factor in the 3 turnovers.
Exactly right, bro. And again, some of those were, at least 2 of those probably were Georgia Tech kind of forced. You know what I'm saying? It was just the ball handling thing, putting things on the ground. But at the end of the day, Colorado's defense forced 3 turnovers. In my mind, they only allowed 20 points. They gave up 27 at the end of the game, but we just talked about that. I don't know. I'm not panicked at all about the defense at this point, even after getting up 300 yards on the ground. I'm just not.
I'm not either. And I think that you just made a great point about the 3 turnovers. Everyone that I've talked to who's at that game said something along the lines of, I knew when we came away from those 3 turnovers and only 7 points, we just put ourselves in a really bad position. Yes. It's like in hockey, they talk about if you get a 5-on-3 and you don't score,
right?
Yes,
you lose.
Yep.
It's like there's just certain things that we've all seen enough games to know, that's gonna come back to bite you.
Yep.
And that was on the offense, not the defense. And so I think that's why. And then the other one that we've talked about a few times, like you said, having the ball with 5 minutes left. I've often put the number at 24. I think as a defense, you should keep your opponent under 24 points. As an offense, you should score over 24 points. That drive right there should have swung it.
Exactly right.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly right.
To go back to your point, too, about zone defense and playing the quarterback run and just Martavius' point, too, just all the responsibilities that come with that. When you play man, though, that's when you get gashed by the QB draw. And that's exactly what happened last year to Colorado when they would play man. As soon as those receivers and guys get downfield and defense starts to turn their backs, that's when those quarterbacks take off. And it's just like the Red Sea parts for them when they're playing man in that situation. So it is a balance. It's going to need some fine-tuning, obviously. They're doing a lot of things differently this year. They have to.
What percentage would y'all put on Georgia Tech being the best team Colorado faces this year? Small percentage?
10.
10?
So I would give them a little bit more.
Yeah, I would say it's unlikely.
Okay.
What about you?
Just curious.
I think it's a decent chance, 20-25%.
Yeah, I was about a quarter. I think about 25%.
I mean, look, Iowa State's really good. Utah's really good. ASU, I mean, there's 3 teams right there that I think have a great chance already. So we'll see.
I don't know if Haynes King can throw the ball well enough for them to get to their goals.
Sure.
Fair enough.
We'll see. That's it for practice today, though. We'll transition a bit into Delaware here. Again, if you watched the first quarter of that game last week against Delaware State, that was just a fever dream. That was insanity. It was, bro. I mean, I watched that and it was like, wow. It finally feels like an actual football game going into the second quarter now when everyone's caught their breath.
A couple people in the chat saying that Utah is going to be the best team Colorado plays this year. That's
Where were you all 3 months ago?
That's interesting. I don't know why they're saying
I think
that.
there's a lot of overreaction happening after week 1 in a lot of different ways.
Of course. Anyways, here is Delaware head coach Ryan Carty. He was asked about CU's defense and the challenges that they will present Delaware this week.
Who are some of the guys on Colorado that are going to be really difficult, to deal with? Obviously, Conference USA people kind of know about the quarterback, with what he did at Liberty a couple of years ago. You mentioned the havoc that they caused on defense. Just how are some of the ways that this team can really challenge you guys and make it difficult for you guys? And who are some of their players who are really good at that in particular?
Yeah. On the defensive side of the ball, I would say, the person that you can see flash a little bit more than everybody else is number 8, McKinney, their one corner. Great football player, talented. I think the thing that I've noticed overall, to answer your question too, less specifically, is a difference in speed. I think more than even some of the other FBS teams we've played since I've been here, I think the way that they make up, like they may lose in a one-on-one battle for a tick, and if you're not throwing that thing right on time, it's going to get deflected or picked off because the makeup speed is a little bit different than we're accustomed to. And I think you see the same thing on the offensive side. The one or two times they got the ball to, their guys in space, there was explosion coming out of it. And so I think that's something we need to do. And like I talked about with turnovers, rallying to the ball is going to be something on defense that we really need to do because they have the ability to obviously kind of make the first guy miss. And then on defense, I think it's that. It's can we stay in front of people? And then we're going to have to win some one-on-ones to win this game. That is 100% certain. And, do I believe that we have the talent to do that? Absolutely. But we've got to be precise. And, when we're not, there will certainly be the ability for them to make up and kind of get us back out of our game because of the talent level that they have. Overall, it's an overarching theme is the talent and speed that they have on their in particular on their defense is special. And so, yeah, certainly on offense, they I think this week, again, week 1 to week 2, I think you saw them against a pretty darn good defense last week, and they're going to come out here, a little bit more precise themselves. And so, who got better week 1 to week 2, and who can go out there and execute a game plan, I think is really what's going to tell us who's going to win.
He knows they have a challenge in front of them this week.
He does. He also knows that DJ McKinney is for real.
Yes, he does.
One player that he mentioned by name.
Yes, it
in
is.
that entire answer.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you got an interception in 3 straight games dating back to last season. When you got an interception in 4 of your last 5 games played.
Yeah. Great answer, though. Coach seems chill.
He does.
This is a full-on advantage, a talent advantage for Colorado at every position, and their coach understands that.
For sure.
And I thought he paid a lot of respect to Colorado, and that team speed thing is something that I feel as though we're already taking for granted in the Coach Prime era.
Yeah, man.
The speed that this team has at its disposal is nothing like the speed that we saw in any of the years prior to Coach Prime, save for a few very special players. But it's something that everyone is going to have to account for. And if used properly by the offensive play caller, can be very, very stressing on a defense when you have speed at so many different positions on the offensive side of the ball, including quarterback. So yeah, I mean, this is one where Colorado should be able to go out there and flex their muscles, their speed, their strength, their size, and dominate a team like Delaware.
When you're talking about the weapons and the offensive play caller for Colorado, I saw this quote graphic from CHGO Bears today. It was fire, by the way. Go follow them on Twitter. It was a quote graphic from one of the best coaches in the NFL right now, Ben Johnson.
All right, bro, get on with it. Come on.
But his quote goes, It's about getting players to football. The quote is, that's what keeps me up at night, making sure all our horses are fed. And I was like, damn, it's a fire quote. It's a hell of a way for a play caller, an offensive mind to operate and to think about
That's the reality of
maximizing the skill sets of the players on his offense and of his unit. And it's a big opportunity for everybody on the Colorado football team this weekend. Forget the opponent, forget the logo. It's an opportunity to get your first win in the season, to bounce back from a tough week 1 loss and to put week 1 behind you. And obviously we know what awaits the other side of Delaware. It's Big 12 play, and that's when the real games begin, so to speak. So from the coaches to the players and everybody involved this Saturday, it's a massive opportunity. And an opportunity that really can't go to waste, especially after, you let one go, you let one slip away in week 1.
I mean, he keyed in on the defensive speed, and you talked about it, RK, but he sees it clearly. And it's something that, it did pop on the film. That this defense is fast. Like,
at every level.
Yes, man. Like, there are even runs that broke into the 3rd level where it's like, here comes Carter screaming across field, to track down a tackle.
Carter saved some touchdowns out there.
Yes, he did. Ben,
sure.
I thought, did the same thing. I thought he was screaming downhill early on, too. So this defense will get better as they settle in. And this should be kind of a get-right game for them, honestly. I mean, I don't want to put a number on it, but you should see a pretty big improvement in the run defense week over week, at least this season. Or this week.
Yeah.
All right. We do have one visitor who is announced this weekend for Colorado. That is Christian Ward, 6'3", 185-pound wide receiver for IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. He is only a 3-star player on the 247 Sport Composite right now, but he's a very high-ranking 3-star, 531st overall player, 80th overall wide receiver. He is from Carrollton, Georgia.
Oh.
He took OVs this offseason to 247 only says Michigan. He did go to junior day at Florida State as well, though. But this was kind of a late Colorado offer. They offered him July 17th. It's clearly he's a target for them, as they round out this 2026 recruiting class. So he's going to come check out Folsom Field this weekend.
Hell yeah.
Come on down.
That's all I've heard on visits so far. We'll see moving forward this week, though, if we start to get a few more. Play fill in the blank.
Take a break.
Oh, yes. Sorry. That's my
Both
bad.
of us over here, I think we're just waiting.
That's my bad.
We're going to toss this break.
My bad. Yeah.
Shout out to the squad, our good friends, our great friends over at Taco Bell, man. Y'all know the deal by now, right? That new Buffs box is now available. Taco Bell Classics at a ridiculously amazing price of just $7, y'all. Especially with today's prices for food, especially not too many deals better than that, especially when you consider that you get a cheesy gordita crunch with it, a beefy 5-layer burrito with it, the Doritos Locos Tacos, cinnamon twist, and a large fountain drink. It all comes in a branded CU Buffs box and a super dope player collector cup featuring either Jordan Seaton, Juju Lewis, who we'll see for the first time in action this weekend, Draylon Miller, or Quentin Gibson, a.k.a. Q for 6. Available for a limited time only at participating Colorado Taco Bell locations. And here's the coolest part, y'all. For every single Buffs touchdown this year, and we already got 2 of them in the books, Taco Bell is going to donate $1,000 to the CU Athletic Scholarship Fund. So pick up your Buffs box today at your nearest Taco Bell, and shout out to Taco Bell.
We're hitting our prime out here in Colorado. Oh,
Hell yeah.
Hitting our prime out here in Colorado. The fall is just the season where Colorado shines off its beauty the most, right? We're going to have a lot of people coming into town for these games. And I'm sure a lot of them are going to see all that and go, you know what? I should get a home here. I should move my family to Colorado. That's where our friends at American Financing come in. Whether you're trying to downsize, upsize, American Financing and their partners at American Home Agents can help you get pre-approved in 24 hours or less. Those two, American Financing and American Home Agents, can also help you save an additional 1%. That's up to $10,000 on your home loan. So if you've been sitting on the sideline, it's time to step in, and American Financing is the place to start. Don't let the 20% down myth stop you. You could buy a home with as little as 3% down. And with down payment assistance programs available, getting into a home might be easier than you think. Give them a call, 303-695-7000. That's 303-695-7000. Or head on over to AmericanFinancing.net, NMLS 182334, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
All right.
Now we can play
let's play
fill
fill
in
in
the
the blank. Everyone's favorite game, some say.
I've heard this is actually the greatest podcasting game ever created.
Wow.
Yeah. Many are saying that.
The rumors are true.
It is. Just giving the people what they want. All right, whenever you're ready, we got 5 of these. Kind of week 1 into week 2 themes. Fill in the blank. The Big 12 team that needs to win the most this weekend is blank.
Colorado?
If you want. I was thinking outside Colorado.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Who
So-
else? Kansas State?
Kansas State was going to be my answer out the gate because Army is just nothing to play with, bro. I think Army took a week 1 loss.
Army did take a bad loss
Yeah.
last week. I'll pull this up here in just
but
a
still,
second.
nothing to play with.
Carleton State.
That's what
There
it
you
was.
go.
That's what it was.
No respect for the troops. Crazy.
That
Shout
is
out
crazy.
Pops.
I'm going to say Baylor.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's got to be Baylor. I mean, obviously, you're at home. Auburn comes in. They win by 14. You have a ranked SMU team that you're taking on the road this week now. This is probably the toughest out-of-conference schedule in the conference this year. SMU is no joke. We're in the playoffs. And Baylor's got a lot of hype. And Sawyer did play fairly well, at least from the stats when you look at those last week. But this is big. And if the Big 12 is going to regain kind of some of that that clout that they lost, that national recognition that they lost for the CFP last week.
Can't go 0-2.
It starts with a Baylor win over SMU.
Can't do that. I feel like there are a few good ones.
Okay.
Who else you got?
Iowa State
Sure.
can't squander a 2-0 start to the season by losing at home to your in-state rival in Iowa.
Yeah, great
can't
point,
do that.
actually.
I think they can, and I think they will.
Really?
Why do you think they can do that and still be looked at as a top 20 team in the country?
Because they already have a good win under their belt. And it's in the non-conference. They come out of the non-conference 2-1 with a loss to a rival.
I don't know. I just feel like that type of loss again at home would kind of just ruin all momentum they built up off the Kansas State win, off the big win last week. But
Okay.
I hear you.
Any Oklahoma State
I
believers
was
walking
gonna
into
say that
Austin
one
to
too.
take on the Oregon Ducks?
Maybe if they didn't lose that quarterback.
Haas head.
Hey, if you're BYU, you cannot lose to Stanford this week.
I mean, this is a
You can't
big
do
game
that.
for Bear Bachmeier, too.
I know, right? It's his former team, right?
Yeah.
Former Trent. You can't do that. You can't lose that game, especially after Stanford lost to Hawaii week 0. Can't lose that game. Can't do it.
Or what?
Then just where do you go from there?
Really?
Didn't they win like 60-0 this last week?
Yeah, they played Portland State, though.
Yeah.
Arizona State, must-win
yes,
game.
Yes.
On the road at Mississippi State, must win.
Another no, for real though. In terms of like the Big 12's like
Yes.
national
Yes.
recognition,
For
you
real.
got to go on the road and beat this SEC team to at least get some capital built up there.
They played
No.
last year too, didn't they?
Yes,
Yeah, you this one you really do. They have to win that one, but not really for themselves as much as it is for the conference.
Yeah.
for sure.
The thing, I guess what I'm looking at through this lens right now is like the Big 12 is so up for grabs that what happens in the rest of the non-conference just really doesn't matter that much. The conference is never going to be respected this season by anyone outside of it. No, the most important games of this last weekend were all lost except for TCU. And now it's just going to come down to whoever wins the conference is going to the college football playoff and no one else is. And so I don't know if anyone has to win this week from that perspective. Now, if you're a team that's 0-1, you really don't want to go 0-2. If you're Kansas State, you really can't come out of this 1-2.
You can't.
But outside of that, to me, it's like this is going to be a one-bid league again. And so the non-conference, now that all those losses were taken last week, is kind of irrelevant.
Arizona State didn't slip up in non-con last year, correct?
No, they got pressed
Texas
pretty hard by
State?
Texas State, but that's it. And then I think I want to say the Mississippi State game was a blowout in their favor.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think I think there's some correlation between not slipping up earlier in the season or non-conference and going on to do special things. And that's obviously not a hard and fast rule by any means.
Sure.
But that's just kind of a feel that I get just based on the last couple of seasons of college football. I mean, granted, and it was mentioned today by Coach Hart, and I think Martavius even, Notre Dame literally lost to Northern Illinois early in the season last year and went on to appear in the national championship. So certainly these type of losses aren't disqualifying for your long season outlook, but some games you just can't lose.
Yeah.
Some games may not be a must win, but some games are a can't lose, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it is different when you're an independent, though. I'll throw that out.
No doubt. You're right.
Why?
Why? Because your entire schedule, like every game is equally, it means the same. Like,
Right. So that would actually make losing in the non-conference more important,
well, but they're gonna. I mean,
or losing early in the season because everything's non-conference.
but like technically, every loss would be like as it just carries as much weight, if not more.
Right. And what I'm saying is like Colorado losing to Georgia Tech carries next to no weight.
Yeah. It's just different for the independents.
Yeah. And I think in this conversation, the loss is way more early in the season.
I don't know. I kind of see both ways. Like, I feel like if you're Notre Dame, like, you can afford one of those. And I don't know. I see it both ways. I agree with you, and I see what you're saying, RK.
It's just, I mean, if Notre Dame loses to one of the worst teams on their schedule, they have 4 more ranked games coming up from teams all over the country.
Right.
They're going on the
They're
road.
going to
and
have
stuff.
the USC game.
Exactly.
They're going to have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
For what it's worth, last year Arizona State beat Mississippi State by only 7 at home.
Oh, okay. Who did they blow
30
out?
to
Was it
23.
Wyoming?
Yeah, it was Wyoming. They beat them 48-7, then only a 3-point win over Texas State.
Okay.
Next question. Kind of the flip side. It's only week 2, but it's time to hit the panic button for blank.
Kansas State. To me, that's the only answer. They've now played 2 games. They looked like dog shit at least 1.5 times.
For real, though.
So
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure their fan base is melting down.
I think that's the answer. The only other answer I can think of is Baylor. It's supposed to be a good defense.
Baylor, yeah.
And you just let Auburn do whatever the hell they wanted to offensively.
Now you literally have a must-win game
On the road against a top 20 team.
against a conference title winner, right? Or runner-up, whatever it was last year.
They were in the ACC title game,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, 0-2. I don't know if you can come back for that. I don't know. Maybe you can because, again, you haven't really played a Big 12 game yet, but it's going to be tough to dig yourself out of.
Next one. Bama's a good answer too, actually. The CU opponent that looks tougher than we thought is blank. Who has improved their stock the most already?
I mean, Utah definitely looked tougher than I thought.
I think for me personally, it's Utah State.
Utah State?
Iowa State, excuse me. Yeah, sorry, Iowa State. Because I thought they would be a top 7 team in the conference, but they look like a top 3 team in the conference. Yeah. And certainly it's early, but
TCU also.
I thought TCU would be good. So.
Yeah, I didn't really change my tune on TCU much. I would say that game was more of a reflection of North Carolina.
Fair. I mean, TCU, I still need to see how good you are defensively before I really feel like you stepped up a bit. The answer to me is it's between Iowa State and Utah, though.
Yeah,
Kansas is another one who's raised their stock a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the schedule, but yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's all good.
No, you're right though. I can't. Who they got this week?
Who?
Yeah, they got Missouri. We finna find out about Kansas this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We finna find out about Kansas and Jalen Daniels this weekend. Watch.
Next. Fill in the blank. Blank looks like the best quarterback in the Big 12.
My guy, Josh Hoover. My pick for preseason all Big 12 all conference. Granted, it was against a team that didn't look good, but I think Josh Hoover had a lot to do with North Carolina not looking good on Monday night. He's got 2 legitimate weapons At receiver, Eric McAllister, Jordan Dwyer. He's got a coach, a head coach who has literally gone to a national championship game before. And that offense is going to be run through him. The only quarterback in the Big 12 who was more productive than Hoover last year, his name was Shedeur Sanders. And I think Hoover's going to be the most productive quarterback in the Big 12 at season's end. And I think TCU messed around and get the 9 wins.
Julian Lewis. No, I'm just kidding. I'm with Scotty on this. Hoover.
Rocco Becht. We were talking about it earlier.
DG tried to tell us.
He did.
Devin Gardner tried to
Yeah,
tell us
he
at
did.
Big 12 Media Days.
We were talking about it earlier. I mean, how many more teams are you going to see that are like Georgia Tech? Probably not any of them that are identical, but Iowa State, you're going to see a lot of quarterback run. You're going to see a lot of RPOs. You're going to see a lot of crazy formations, and just kind of F it, try and stop this dive type of stuff from Iowa State. So
I think one thing they got going for them so well, they might have the most, in terms of the quarterback and the play caller and the head coach. I assume Matt Campbell calls plays. Maybe he doesn't. But I guess I'm more so talking about the head coach and quarterback. They might have the most on the same page quarterback head coach combo in the Big 12 between Rocco Becht and Matt Campbell, having played with each other the last couple of seasons. And I think it was super evident in Ireland in week 1. They were just dialing stuff up and making things really easy for Rocco. Not that Rocco needs things made easy for him because he's a veteran guy, but Iowa State looks nice, man. I'm really looking forward to that game, and I'm glad it's in Boulder, Colorado.
I honestly, though, came away, going back to the question here, underwhelmed with quarterback play across college football this weekend.
Facts.
I don't really think there's anyone who's like that.
I mean, Nuss was probably the most impressive from like the big name guys, and like the other guys who were impressive were
Sellers
kind of
played
just
pretty
like
well.
He did. The Cal freshman played really well. Yeah, you're right though.
Didn't South Carolina have like 7 points in the third quarter?
Yeah, that game was weird. There was like a safety that they had at one point, and that kind of made the score crazy. But they really picked it up late. Nick Harbor finally caught a pass.
Yeah, that was a dime.
Yeah. Sellers was really impressive to me, actually. Next one. You can kind of take this a variety of directions. You can pick a player. You can pick a position group. Side of the ball. Colorado's blank will improve the most from Georgia Tech to Delaware.
Colorado's linebackers will improve the most from Georgia Tech to Delaware. One, having another game under their belt playing together. Two, the challenge should be significantly lowered. But I think you'll see those guys, doing what you said they didn't do, which is get in the backfield, make plays.
Yeah.
They struggle to do that against Georgia Tech. I think you'll see quite a bit of that this week.
For me, it's the passing game. And I think it will be due to improved play by Kaidon Salter, by Julian Lewis's making his debut, and him putting his pinpoint accuracy on display. And obviously the receivers weren't involved much. I mean, no receiver for Colorado on Friday had more than 2 catches, which is unfortunate. I think that'll be much different this weekend, even with not having to throw it a bunch, I would assume. I just think the passing game, there'll be more opportunities, and I think they'll be more efficient. And I think we'll have at least one kind of standout performance from the receiver room this weekend.
I think the most glaring thing that you'll be able to point to will be the front seven, the defensive line, and those linebackers and the numbers that they put up. But I think we'll feel so much better, like you said, Scotty, about this passing game, seeing both the quarterbacks out there.
Yeah.
Finally getting some more involvement from that receiver room. I think just seeing that alone would be very encouraging and a sign of things to come for the future here.
Ivan says, who's the Heisman favorite right now after all the flops? I saw a good
Sellers?
hierarchy earlier.
Nuss?
Nuss probably leads
Probably
it.
Nuss, yeah.
Castellanos, probably.
Hey, if Oklahoma beats Michigan this weekend, John Mateer finna be right in that conversation.
Facts.
Hey, Carson Beck looked good too.
I try to tell y'all, man.
I was never really down
Yes.
on Beck. I feel like I was never really down
No,
on
I
Beck.
told you guys. I was like, remember last year? Last year against Georgia Tech, he threw for over 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's the reason they were in that game. Is he played well. He got his elbow bent backwards in the college football playoff, and the other guy comes in, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's dead. He's over."
What did he actually do in that game, though?
Against Georgia Tech? Or
No,
against,
for Miami this weekend.
he played pretty well, dude.
I got it right here.
You got it?
I know he threw at least one touchdown that was kind of or he threw 2 touchdowns. 20 of 31, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nothing on the ground, but
Okay.
solid.
Solid for sure.
Against a defensive team that was just in the natty last year.
That's fill in the blank.
I got one for you.
Go for it.
Julian Lewis's first snap will come at what point in the game?
5 minutes in the first quarter.
So second drive?
Yep.
I'm gonna say he comes out to start the second half.
Okay.
What do you think?
I was gonna say second drive as well. And the reason why I said it is because of Coach Prime's kind of quote about I don't care about the flow of the game, all that. When I heard that, I kind of thought like, yeah, you almost get him in there before there is any quote unquote flow to the game.
Right.
Like it's like scripted in basically. That it's almost going to be a part of you finding your flow. I have no idea though. What you can't do is now like somehow you're in a close game and like then now like
Exactly.
hopefully that doesn't happen. But that's why I think like if you're saying we're playing him no matter what, it means you're doing it early in the game before there's any quote unquote pressure, like game flow that mounts and makes it harder to get him in.
Reason I biggest reason why I said second half is because kind of like what you said. I just don't like the idea of throwing him in the game that's still like in the balance for his first action. Like ideally in my mind, Colorado is up 28-3 at halftime, and Julian comes out to start the second half, and he plays a good game in a less pressurized situation. And not that I don't think Julian can't handle a pressurized situation or a game in the balance or anything, but Coach Prime clearly said yesterday that like you don't want to rush things, you don't want to just throw him in whatever. And he also did say that he doesn't give a damn about flow this week as it pertains to this game against Delaware. But that's just how I would handle it. Give him. And it's kind of like a start, right? If you bring him out to start the second half, it's kind of like you can kind of in your mind kind of think of it. I'm talking about from Juju's perspective.
Yeah.
Like I'm coming out starting a game like I always have. So that's kind of what I would do.
Just to be frank, that's kind of my point about the whole thing yesterday. But anyways, he's got to work with the starters, man. Remember, this was a quarterback competition that went down to the wire, basically. Like, I feel like a lot of people look at Julian, the age, and like the true freshman, and they just go, well, we got to kind of baby him. It's like, this is the guy we've heard nothing about but being just ready for the moment since he was, 8 years old? He was in this quarterback competition neck and neck, did a lot of things the just perfect right way this offseason to get himself in that quarterback competition. Put him out there with the starters. Let's see what he has. Let's see if he can get the passing game going with those receivers who are going to be playing a lot on offense. And then we kind of work from there.
Yeah, and again, that's what I interpreted from Coach Prime, just reading between the lines, and he said, I don't care about the flow of the game or any of that this week. Is like, we're getting him out there early with the starters, like because I don't dislike the plan of him coming out to start the second half way up, but again, that means you're assuming that you're up a bunch at the second half, and then we'll get him in there. Like I think when you say like we don't care, we're just getting him in there, it means you're getting him in there early in the game. Now, I was talking with Bryce about this, and of course, there's a counter to every question. He said, "Okay, well, what if Kaidon goes out there and leads a perfect first drive down the field?"
You can't take him out after that.
In my opinion, yeah, you go back to him and keep the rhythm and keep the flow going. So again, but that assumes that you care about the flow of the game, which Coach Prime said he didn't. So yeah,
And I think
it makes for an interesting conversation of like, when is the right time? What is the right time? Other people get paid millions of dollars to make these decisions. We just talk about it on a podcast.
And I think a lot was made of the flow. I don't give a darn about the flow quote. And I think all Coach Prime meant by that was last week against Georgia Tech, I didn't want to throw him in the middle of a game because for whatever reason, right? The game was close from the opening kickoff through the end of the game. But he's basically saying like, doesn't matter this week. Like, he's going to play. They probably had this game circled all offseason that he was going to play in this game. And really, whether they're up 7 or 21, it's a good time probably to get Juju in the game, I think, from his perspective this week.
Keeping it real, Delaware's just not nearly as good as Colorado. The flow of the game should not matter in almost any regard this week. And honestly,
I also think that's probably why he said that as well. Like, the flow shouldn't matter this week.
No.
Shouldn't even be part of the equation.
No, there's a chance Colorado scores before the offense even takes the field. I mean, again, Delaware almost threw a pick on a screen on their first offensive play last week, man. Like, again, like, people are acting like we got to take this team so seriously. And look, I'm sure the team is. I'm sure they're coaching their ass off and they're watching film and doing all this stuff. But us up here talking about it, look, man, they should win this game by like 30 points. Everyone should be able to get off the field. Juju should have 40-plus snaps under his belt from this game because it's not even going to be a contest, honestly.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm excited to see when it happens. I think the very least it'll be a big ovation at Folsom Field.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One thing I just wanted to say, too, about this that I thought about yesterday, kind of what I said yesterday about, like, you only get one chance for your first impression, right? And as we're talking about Juju, and this is kind of turned into a quarterback conversation, like, Kaidon had the opportunity on Friday to remove all doubt. He could have played a game to where we're not even thinking really or talking about Julian Lewis as it pertains to week 2. And he didn't. I think that Kaidon didn't play bad. I know he didn't play bad, but he could have removed all doubt when it comes to another quarterback entering the equation, and he didn't. And I think Kaidon has to live with that, and that's why I said yesterday, this is a big opportunity for Kaidon Salter, just as much as it is for Julian Lewis in his debut. This is a big opportunity for Kaidon to build off of week 1, to put week 1 in the past, and show why he won this job out of camp, because that is what he did. He won the job out of camp. It might have been partially because, Juju got sick closer to week 1, but that's what it is. And I'm just really excited to see both of these quarterbacks, knowing that all eyes are going to be on them this weekend and every snap they take is going to be overanalyzed. I'm excited to see how they handle that.
Facts.
Let's go to the chat. Joe says, what do you think about college football having at least one preseason game?
I would love it.
Be sick.
Yeah, it's probably never going to happen, though.
Well, it could if we start heading down the NFL.
Right, you'd have to separate from being a school, almost, like, type of thing.
I don't understand why.
Well,
Yeah, what you mean by that?
I think in order to get enough time to start camp, get the guys in there, start classes, play a preseason game, you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to move the whole college football schedule to make that game, that preseason game earlier.
How about that last Saturday of camp when they scrimmage? Instead of scrimmaging themselves, they just scrimmage someone else.
Or just make week 0
Sounds
preseason week.
Easier said than done, though. Like, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Prime is about to pull off a joint spring game. So I think we could pull off a preseason game. It would be so nice to have a game under the belt to know where the leaks in the boat are before sending the boat out onto the water.
Yeah.
And Coach Prime actually is very adamant that, like, they know exactly what's going to happen and who these guys are going to look like. And I'm sure when you get to watch those guys practice every single day, you have a pretty good idea where the leaks on the boat are.
Right.
But it is different when you get to see it out there against an opponent.
Rose with the super chat says, Jake giving grace to the whole defense, but not the quarterback is hilarious for the first game performance. Yep. Yes, I did. Next, Don Peasy.
Wow.
If Julian completely outperforms Kaidon, then what? Does Kaidon still start versus Houston?
That would be a great conversation for a podcast next week if it happened.
You have thoughts on that? I thought you were about to say something.
I was, but I mean, that would be.
Let's cross a bridge when we get to it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a development. Yeah.
That's it.
Somebody said that Juju is 5'9". I can promise you that boy is not 5'9" tall.
Not even close.
Stop playing with him.
He's over 6 feet tall.
For real.
Clearly. All right. We've got some more videos coming out pretty soon. We're going to talk to someone about Delaware here very shortly, so you have that to look forward to. Tomorrow we'll have picks. Kind of maybe dig into Delaware a little bit more if you want.
Sure.
But we'll figure it out.
I'm doing my homework, man. I got to bounce back, bro, on these picks, bro.
Yeah, you
Week 2.
You had a big one.
Week 2, we got to turn it up.
You better hope the board is. You're reading the board well tonight.
I hope so.
I'll send you guys the games tonight. We'll pick it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.